Well, usually it counts down. Hmm. All right, we're good.
Awesome. I thank you guys for joining. We are going to give it about 2 minutes to the top of the hour and then we will get started. As you are coming in, please let us know who you are. Introduce yourself, your name, name of your business would be wonderful. Contact information so that anyone who is joining us is able to connect with you. As you are coming in.
Okay. Sweet.
All right, so we have people on Zoom, so make sure you are using the comment section to ask any questions. If you are inside of the, I'm sorry, we have people on Facebook and social media. So if you have questions, please feel free to put those in the comments. If you are joining us inside of the Zoom, do the same. So we have someone watching both of those areas so we can get those questions answered. If we should not get to those questions, it is okay. We will follow up with any comments or questions that you leave. All right, it is 2 o'clock. It's at the start of the hour, and thank you guys again for joining us for the Business Owner Clarity Series hosted by Action Coach Shepherd Bay. As if you've been joining us, you have noticed that we have gone live with a webinar for the last month or so. So every second and fourth Tuesday, we come on at 2 o'clock. Just give you a tidbit of information, give you some clarity, some information that you can use to continue to build your business. Just some insight, just some different things. We know that you're doing a wonderful job building your business, but sometimes it can get a little tricky. So we have designed this just to help you along the way on this journey. Today we're talking about sales, why more sales aren't fixing the problem. Just give you the agenda. We start this thing the same way every time because we want to make sure you get the most out of these opportunities. So we're going to go through housekeeping, who we are. We want you to add your name and your business in the chat as we go along. We're going to go through some content, give you an application of that content. Then we will um, show you or invite you to stay in action and give you some options for doing that as well. And then we will go through BFOs. BFOs are blinding flashes of obvious. I'll talk about that a little later. And ask for your feedback because we want to make this good and better every time. House rules. And this is good for anything that you are doing when you are in a learning situation. I have a coach who says, don't only not for you to not just be in the room, but be in the room right. So be in the room present and available. So turn off your distractions. Some of you might be on your phone, but turn off your distractions. Um, Make sure you're participating, taking notes, paying attention. Have your cameras on. If you're here with us on in Zoom, put your cameras on so we can have some interaction. Use colors while you are writing your notes. Sometimes you can get stuck on something, or I ask you to come up with some ideas or some strategies that you can use, and nothing's coming to you. I invite you to put down the black or blue pen and use something of color because it just activates a different part of our brain, our creative brain, and you can come up with something different. You'll be amazed at how that works. Raise your hand to call out answers, and we'll make this informative and something that you learn from. You're going to learn from this, and that's what we want you to do. So, we're going to give you something to think about, give you something to do, and then a way to continue. A little about us. If you're new to Action Coach, we've been in this area. Action Coach Tampa Bay has been in this particular area for, is it 18 years? I believe we're at 18 years now. And we have been working diligently to support small businesses in this area. We are part of a global entity, a franchise that has been around for 30 years. And Action Coach Global has more than 1,000 coaches, we coaching offices. We are currently in more than 80 countries worldwide. Privately owned by Brad Sugars. He's an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and author of several books. His vision was to create world abundance through business re-education because he found that businesses had enough to get started, but not so much, not enough to continue their business and make it successful. So that's why he designed Action Coach Tampa Bay. So we're all over the place. So that just lets you know that we've been doing this. We have some skin in the game. We've worked with many different businesses, different countries, and different industries. So we know a little something. Now we're not going to go through official introductions. I would love for you to just do that in the chat. Just introduce your name, what you do. If your company name doesn't specifically say what you do, tell us what you do. How many years have you been in business? What industry you're in? The number of employees? What's your number one business challenge right now? Because we're going through different topics, but you may have something that we haven't addressed yet. And if you want that addressed, then let us know. Let us know in the comments. Now, this is important. This is important for any campus that you step on to learn, any webinar, any seminar, anything. What do you choose to get out today? This is a great way for you to even start your day, to start it on a positive note, to start it in a place where you're taking control of your day. What do you choose to get out of it? So, for this next hour, 45 minutes to an hour, what is it that you choose to get out of this particular topic today? And if you're watching this on the replay, just stop this for a moment and take a moment to really think about this and write it down before you get started. It just helps you to set your mind for on results and to help you listen for what it is that you wish to attain and be very specific. So today is not about motivation or theory. So if you came here for motivation or theory, you're going to be disappointed. It's about understanding why this problem that you're having exists and how to fix it with structure. So no more, no less. We're not talking about getting you all hyped about anything. We're like I said, we're going to give you something to do, something to think about, something to do, and a way to continue your learning. So I want to share with first with a client success story. This is Paul. He started with Action Coach, and he's very happy with the process. It's been a huge help helping him to focus on the most important parts of his company. He's growing in the right directions and feel that he has an experienced person to assist him. It's important to have an experienced professional to help because we know that as business owners, many of the people that we listen to early on are not really professionals, right? We're listening to our friends and family who don't have businesses. We are listening to other business owners who are struggling, who can't help us get out of our own way because they can't get out of their own way, right? Mm-hmm. We go to Google, we go to chat, we go to all these different places. But that is not always the best. It's best to have someone who is in the field working with different business owners who can help you. I like this guy here. He is in the jar. He is in the jar. He can't read the label because he's inside there, which means he can't see all the things that he needs to see inside of his business. So most of you are working 60 hours a week or more inside your business, but the reality is you are too close to the glass. You see the work, but can't see the business. This is why you feel stuck, not because you aren't working hard, but because you literally cannot see what's holding you back. We are looking to meet business owners who have a big vision, but are scared to take the next step because they just can't see what they have built around them, what's missing, and what to do next, the right best next thing. And this is why we do this. We don't really just do this so that you can make more money, although money is important, right? And when you're in business, but we want this to work you went into business for a specific reason, and we want it to work for everyone around you. Your family is dependent upon your success and your livelihood and your well-being and your peace of mind, right? So we want you to be the kind of parents who are actually present with your kids, to build a relationships, to build deeper relationships and roots, because we don't want you to be at the house worried about the business, worried about if payroll went through, worried about if this project was done perfectly because you weren't there. We don't want you worried about those things. That's not how this is designed to go. Of course, you're going to do it in the beginning, but this is not how this is designed. This is not should not be the life of your business. But we are working to impact lives, not just businesses, because we know that if your business is working well, then your family is benefiting as well. And we do not want you to be under the everything's fine facade, right? It's hard for business owners to admit when things are going wrong, and they don't really have a place to say that, right? And so that's why we exist, so we can be that safe place for you to come and say, hey, I'm doing the best I can, but this is not working, or I can't figure this out. This is the place where you can come and say that, so you can get coached up and get the insight that's needed. So, in relation to the topic, we're talking about sales. We oftentimes will focus on how do I get more customers without really going into the depth of how those customers come about and what needs to be done for that to happen. And today we're going to go through my favorite formula of action coach, and I want you to sit tight, take notes, and we're going to work through this. And when you leave here, you should have a couple of different strategies that you can start to implement right away. That's going to make a impact on your business. So revenue growth alone does not solve profitability or scalability problems. The real issue is usually poor conversion, weak margins, lack of systems, owner dependency. Not the things that not the sexy things that we like to focus on, but these are the things that are going to move the needle for you. This is where you need to focus before you go out and try to get more new customers. Sustainable growth comes from optimizing the business, not endlessly chasing more leads. Oh my gosh, guys, that takes you so much time and money. It is the latest. I think the latest that I've seen is like it is 7 to 15 times more expensive to get a new lead than it is to nourish the ones you already have, the clients you already have. So we're going to go through that today. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. So let me take a breath. I'm going to show you the fundamentals of how we build businesses here at Action Coach. What I love about Brad Sugars is he has broken things down in small pieces that, or just breaking it down into steps that are easier for us to consume. We start off with mastery. In mastery, we are focused on eliminating chaos. So we focus on the money, the time, the direction of the company, the destination, and your deliverables. Like those are the four major things that we talk about in mastery, right? That's the foundation, things that you must get done to create the stability. Then we start talking about marketing and creating a predictable cash flow. Once you get the marketing down, then is how do we make your business more efficient so that you can start bringing on team members? So how do we build the systems? What systems need to be built to sustain a team that comes along to help you with the predictable cash flow and all of the influx. Then team. Then we focus on how do we create a team? How do we create a good management system so your team can work without you being there? This is the golden piece right here. However, what we see a lot of is that people hiring team before creating systems. So you hire a team with the systems in your head, and that doesn't really work so well. But we'll talk about that in detail later. After you have your team, and the team is running the business, it's supporting itself. Now we have a well-oiled machine, and now we have what we call freedom. Freedom to do the things you went in business for, right? You have freedom of time, freedom to be present with your family, freedom to start another business, to focus on the things that really drive the business, so because you're not working in it all the time. This is when the business is now a source of a passive income so that you can sell it or maybe duplicate it. Now you have the freedom of choice to do so. How do we do that? We help you to create massive results. And this is the one of the ways that we do that. This is the 5 ways blueprint to increase your business profits. Y'all, this is golden. This is golden. If you get nothing else, this right here is is worth the price of admission. Many times when we ask people, what do you need? Ask business owners, what do you need to grow your business? It is, like I said before, customers. Let me show you something. If you look at this formula, you'll see that customers, revenue, and profit are in yellow. They're in yellow because something must be done in order to get here, right? You just don't go and grab customers. That's not how it works. You have to you have to actually identify who is the best lead for you. To find qualified leads, we have to go through that process. Then there's the conversion rate. How do we convert those leads into customers? What affects the conversion rate? We'll talk about that. Then we can get to customers. If you know these numbers, then you can calculate what it's going to take for you to get new customers. Now, after you have customers, how many times are they buying from you? How many times are they coming back? What are they getting from you? What's the average sale? How much are they spending every time they come? This will give you the revenue. So customers times transactions times average sale, that's what give you a revenue. Then profit. When we focus on the profit, how can we affect the profit more efficiently? Your profit margins more efficiently, and that will give you your profits. So we're going to break this down over this next few minutes here. And I want you to be brainstorming because I guarantee when we go through this, you're going to think of things that you have been doing in the past that you stopped doing for some reason. You were doing something that was working, and for whatever reason, you stopped. So let's think about how we can start to affect that. So I went over the 5 ways to increase your profits. This is the formula. And now I'm going to show you the order in which we pay attention to these. This is how we focus on these and get to um, some effective action. So you see these numbers? We don't start with the number of leads. What are we starting with? We're starting with profit margins. So what are the margins on your products and services that you're offering? Which thing has the most? Which item has the highest margins that's making you the most money with the least amount of effort, right? What are those things? What are the things in your business that you are doing that's costing you money to provide? What are those services? What are those products? So this requires a little work. It requires you to look at what you're currently offering and determining how much am I making off of this? How much is it costing me to provide this service? How much does it cost me in material, in wages? Like, what does it cost me to produce this? Because once you get clear on that, then you can start to refocus your energy on those things that are highest, that brings the highest margins. The other thing here is looking at your fixed costs and maybe negotiate with some of your vendors, because maybe you haven't renegotiated with your phone service in the last year. Go back and see if you can get something, get a lower rate on your phone services and other things that you're doing. So go back and look, see who are you paying subscriptions to. Sometimes you're paying subscriptions to people that you're not even using the service anymore. So go back and spend that time. I've had business owners go back and look through just the subscriptions and found out that they were paying like upwards of $500 for services that they weren't even using, that they had forgotten they had. So it's worth it to go and look. The second thing you see on here is conversion rate. So how are we converting those leads into customers? This can be done. We can affect this just by having a script. Do you have a script? A sales script? Is it written down or is it in your head? And I know you're saying, I'm so good at this, my conversion rate is 90%. That is wonderful and good. However, what happens when you have your worst day ever and you still need to show up for your business? What happens when someone else needs to do that portion of your business because you're unable to do it? How do you communicate what needs to be done? Even if you have a checklist, if you have a set of questions that need to be asked, start to write those things down. If this is something you're doing every time and you know that it works, write it down. Because when you have your best day ever, sometimes your emotions get in the way and you can't think clearly and you may skip a step. But if you have it written down, then it's just there. It just makes it easier for you and just releases a little bit of the mental load that you have to carry. So that's just one thing to do. Make sure you have a script. The third thing is average sale. And this one is can be very simple, not easy to do for many owners, but very simple. Is when was the last time you raised prices? And how often are you scheduled to raise prices in your business? I know, I know. You're scared you're gonna lose clients if you raise the prices. I'm not telling you to raise it by 50%. Start off with 5%, 10%. But look and see in the areas where you can raise your prices. The third is, I'm sorry, the fourth is the number of transactions. Also, with the average sale, too, is how could you package your items? Are there things that you can package? I often tell the story about a bicycle shop that started. Bicycle shop started selling bikes, having great sales, but what they found out was that the items that went along with riding a bike, they were people were purchasing other places. So the helmets, the knee pads, the shoulder pads, not shoulder pads, the knee pads, the elbow pads, the water bottles, the locks, all those things that go along with being a bike owner, they were buying it from another place. So what they did was start to offer those items inside of their shop. So they captured all of those sales. So what is it for you that you can start to do or start to add that you know people are buying? Can you start to either add or offer? Or when you offer a service or product, what else can you add to that and offer it as a package that you know people will need, right? So think of what services go together, of the services that you're already offering. What goes together that the consumer won't naturally think of? It's something that you have to package together for them to give them a better experience. Number of transactions, how many times people come back to you. What are we doing to encourage and nurture our clients? What are we doing to be innovative as things are changing? Just thinking about how many times or what can I do to get people to increase their number of transactions. So we have gone through one, two, three, and four, and have not touched leads yet. Isn't that amazing? So we're going to go through the formulas to see what happens if we concentrated on those five items, or just the four really, but we'll throw in the five, right? If we just concentrated on those five things for a year, I believe most of us could have some kind of, um, we can have a bump in our profits over the year. So just kind of so that you see what we're working with here, right? When I was telling you those six steps, this is what's inside of each of those six steps. So we have the mastery level. So we're talking destination, time, delivery, financials, like I said before. But what I really want you to see is here's in the marketing area. So I just talked about all of these things. So there's the leads, there's the conversion, average sales, number of transactions, and margins. And these are some of the most common things that we see within those that can help to increase by 10% in those small areas. So are you measuring? Sometimes just measuring will give you an increase because now you're paying attention. Um, what is your system for following up on your leads? And as I mentioned, define process. Do you have a defined process? The stages of your sales and any scripts? Average sale. Are you discounting? Discounting. Oh my gosh, that's a major that eats into your bottom line so much. So we always we will suggest that you not discount, but you offer value. Don't have time to go into all of that right now. That's something we can talk about another time. But are you optimizing your prices? Are you upselling and bundling checklists so that you go through all the things that might be needed for a sale? Questions that need to be asked. Number of transactions. Do you have a VIP or loyalty program to keep people coming back? Subscription, monthly offer, margins, healthy gross margins, overhead minimize, labor efficiency, and the stop discounting. See how that shows up twice? That's how we feel very passionate about that stop discounting. But these are some of the things. So I hope as I've gone through those, some things have come to mind for you in terms of, what am I not doing that I can start to do more of in those areas. So we talked about the 5 areas. And I want you to rate yourself in each one. Don't worry, I'm going to show on the next slide what those are. But I want you to rate yourself in those areas, 1 to 5. One being, I am not doing anything, or I'm not satisfied as in terms of how much I'm doing. 5 is I'm doing all the things I could do in this area. Choose 1 to 2 areas to give attention to. And then I want you to brainstorm 3 to 5 strategies you can implement right away. So if you are watching this on replay, please stop and give yourself time to actually do this work and then start the video over again. So I'm going to give it a minute for you to at least think about the 5 areas. And so those areas are conversion rate, number of transactions, average sale, profit margins, and number of leads. And then of all the things I've talked about, what strategies could you implement right away that could give you an increase in those areas? So now I'm going to show you the impact of having focused attention on those 5 areas for at least a year. Sometimes you'll do it before then. If you have not tackled these areas, you'll see something earlier. But just at least 10. We're just going to give you a year, right? And I know with all that you've done in the business, I feel that business owners are brilliant. And if they have focused attention on something, there's no doubt that they can make at least a 10% increase in these areas. So let's see what that looks like. So if you focus on number of leads, you can increase that by 10%. 10% is moving that to 4,400. In terms of the conversion rate, just by having a sales script, 27.5%. That gives you an increase of 210 customers, right? So that's 10% in 2 areas. And now you have not 20%, but you have a 21%. So it's already compounding. So let's go down to the number of transactions, because now, we are talking to folks. We have an email campaign telling them what's new and what's coming. So they're coming back again. So just 10%. So it's not even 3, it's 2.2 in terms of the number of transactions. Then we go to the average sale, and we just raise the prices by 10%. Now that $100 is now $110. And now we have increased our revenue by 92, almost $93,000, which is a 46% increase in revenue. But hold on. Now we go down and talk about these margins, and we look at our look at how we're spending our money and see what things we might be able to cut, but also how we can refocus our energy on high margin items or services. And that's 27.5, not a lot. But now we see that instead of the 50,000, we have increased by $30,000, 30,500. That's a 61% increase, not in revenue, but in profits. That's a big doggone deal. And that's just focusing on 5 areas, 10% increase. That's how that compounds. So when we talk about this, oftentimes we'll talk about this, and people who are not accustomed to what we do and how we do it will think that these are just pipe dreams. Like there's no way anyone is actually doing this. So I like to throw in a story. If we were in person, I would have someone stand up and tell a story. Uh, so this is one of our clients here. He was hesitant to start coaching at first. Did he saw the value, and maybe like some of you, you see the value, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford this. So one of our partners here talked to him, reviewed their business, and suggested that they increase the price. They had been in business for like 10 plus years and had never increased their pricing. So our partner here talked to him, one of our coaches, and convinced him to raise the prices. But he was so afraid to raise the prices because he was scared, like many business owners, that they were going to lose their clients. They're going to lose clients. So he didn't do the 10%, he did the 7%. He did the 7%, and guess what? Not one client complained, not one client dropped off, and he made much more than he expected to. Well, he made what he expected because he knew that he had increased by 7%, but he was more than able to pay for coaching then. It was a no brainer at that point. So sometimes it's not necessarily the strategy that is lacking for people. It's sometimes the mindset, right? So what we find is that when you increase your prices, it's not your best customers that you lose. It's the ones that you probably kind of want to go away anyhow, right? The ones who are costing you more money and more time and more energy than you really want to spend. So now they've been with us doing a wonderful job building and scaling their business. But just one example of how just a small tweak can have make such a big impact. So let's talk about why business owners sometimes fail. Just like I said before, sometimes it's a small tweak and we just can't see it, right? We just can't see it. Um, Most owners will fall off the wagon and stay off. And that's where we come in to help you break habits, create new habits that are going to put you in a place of growth, a growth mindset, and a growth in your business. Help you to focus on what's most important and what's most important to focus on next. Because we know that there's no shortage of information. There's a lot of information, especially with AI. However, you can get overwhelmed by information and not get clarity and not get what I need to do next because of all of the information. Information can sometimes paralyze you. So it's just so important to get into a space where we we're going to support you. We know that you're going to fall down sometimes and you're going to fail at certain things, but that doesn't mean that the business is over. It has to be over. That means that we get back up and we find a better track, a faster track for you to get on. That's quicker than what you would find on your own. Okay. So we're looking for owners who are tired of the facade, who are ready for an actual breakthrough and like, oh, okay, now I know what to do and I've done something and it works. And how do we do more of that? So that's what we're looking for in business owners. So I talked about this before, but we're going to take a break now. I've been talking for a while, and I just want you to write down what has been the top learning for you since you started in this class today. What has stood out for you as something that is impactful, something that you can do, something that challenges your thinking. We call these BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. What is it that stood out for you that was like your aha moment? Like, oh my goodness, I have not done this. I haven't raised prices. I can at least raise it by 5%, right? Because it costs you nothing. That's the thing. Everything that we talked about you could do things inside of those that really doesn't cost you any money or cost you very little, but much less than chasing new leads. So you may not need more sales. You may need just to nurture the folks that you already have. Those people who have already purchased from you are 10 times more likely to purchase from you again. So let's talk to them because what we'll do is we'll forget about them. We haven't sent them a newsletter. We haven't sent them information on what we're doing. We haven't put things together in a nice little care package so when they purchase from you, they're buying everything they need. Because I don't know about you all, but how many of you, because I've heard this from some of our clients, have had people who know them, who love them and trust them, who have gone to buy something from someone else instead of buying it from them because they didn't know. They had no idea that they even had that service. So we don't want that to be you. We don't want that to be you. So we want to help you. We invite you to come in so that you can get the assistance that you need so that you can see what you don't see. So, what was the top learning from today's lesson? Please drop that in the comments for me. Please let me know if you're watching this live or if you're watching replay. I would love to know that. We would love to know that so we can follow up with you. If you heard something and you feel like you need more information about that, we'll show you how you can schedule appointment later. Excuse me. But and if you can't come up with things, then that might be a good opportunity for you to sit with one of our coaches as well, because we want to help you to if you are in the mindset of growing your business, if you're passionate about getting to a place where your business runs without you so that you can have the time that you went into business for, right? You can have the freedom to choose whether you're working or not. You have the freedom to take a vacation and be away from your business, right? You have the freedom to go and see your kids' shows and be there and not be picking up your phone and not worried about all the things that could be wrong with your business. We want you to have that freedom. That's what this is all about. So what was the thing you had to hear today? Please share that with us. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. This is one of my favorite quotes from Les Brown. It is why we all need coaches. We need various coaches. We're business coaches here, but the most successful people in the world have multiple coaches. The most successful, now I'm not a sports person, but in the sports arena, even the MVPs have coaches, right? They don't just show up and just, do their thing. They have coaches at every level of their career. Um, I read something about Oprah Winfrey having several coaches that helps her with finances, with health, with um, just all the things, right? So it's not just one coach that you need, but we happen to help you not only with your business, but we also help you with like the personal development because we know that your business will not grow further than you will. So we invite you to um, to at least sit with one of us, but I'll give you more information. But just so we hit everybody, I want because see when I show this in person, people don't really get excited about just the little money. I guess we attract folks who are multi-millionaire minded, right? So what happens if we double? Just for fun, let's look to see if we double the effort and not do 10%, but 50%. Let's see what that looks like. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's just not amazing in theory, it is real. It's absolutely real. We have business owners who are doing this. So it's not a hoop dream, it's something that is attainable for you if you are coachable, if you have big dreams, if you are not scared of work, because we don't give you a shortcut to this, it requires work. Um, what we do give you is streamlined and focus. That's what we give you. That's what's lacking. So it's not the lack of information, it's the lack of implementation. So we're here to hold you accountable for the implementation of what's going to work best for your business. So now I've given you some things to think about, hopefully, some things to do, of course, and now a way to continue your learning. Because I know for many of you, you'll take this and you'll run with it and you'll be fine for a little bit. For some of you all, this was a lot and you just recognize that I need some additional support. I need someone to help guide me. I'll need someone like I like to say, get all up in my business and tell me what I need to do next, right? Because I've done all the things that's gotten me here. I don't know how to get me to the next level. So that's what we're here for. So we have an in-person seminar that's coming up. We do this every third Friday. The next one is June 19th. We are focusing on marketing systems that scale, simplify, automate, and grow. More of what we talked about today, but on a deeper level. So that will be a great opportunity. That is available to you for less than $50 to come in and spend half a day with us, learning from experts in the room, the expert coaches in the room, as well as some of the peers. So you'll be in there with other business owners, learning from them, and then you'll come in and meet with and be with our members who have been in coaching for a while. So you can learn from them on top of that, and we feed you. Right? So it is a great opportunity to come in to fellowship, to learn, to network, and to just be in a space that is giving you community, accountability, where we are results driven, and we believe in education. We give you education. So great space to be in for less than $50. So we'll at the end you'll have an opportunity to give us feedback on that feedback form. You can choose to sign up for that right now to secure your seat. That's going to be in Tampa, so great mid location that's right here between Tampa and St. Pete. Okay, so the other opportunity that we have is to have time to speak with a coach. Now, if you found all the information was valuable and you just want to go ahead and sign up for June 19th, that's fine. If you want to meet with a coach, then on the feedback form, there will be times allocated that you can sign up for. And our next webinar will be is it the second week? I think it's the second. So it's the second and fourth of every month. So our next webinar will be the second week of June, and you'll see notifications of that if you are following us on social media. You'll see those. So I skipped one, and I want to go back to it. So at this point, we're going to allow you to, if you're here in the room, our team will put the feedback link in the chat, so you can go ahead and address that. If you are watching us online, then I would recommend you put in the comments that you want to speak with one of us. So if you would just put in the comments interested. If you write in interested, then one of us will follow up with you to get you the information that you need, and either get you signed up for the next event or signed up for one of our 12-week courses that I didn't get to talk about today, or just have some time with a coach to figure out what your next step is. All right, so are there any questions in the comments? So I'm going to check Facebook real quick. I don't see any questions. We're just giving time because I know there's a time lag. Okay, so if I don't get to, if I'm missing your question, I apologize that I'm not able to answer it live. However, we are watching. Someone's always watching the page, so we can see when you have commented, and we can get right back to you. These are the different places where you can follow us. We are Action Coach Tampa Bay on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. On YouTube, you will actually see the replays of this video and prior videos, so you can keep going, keep growing along with the series. All right, so thank you guys so much for your time and attention. And I would love to hear feedback on what was the most valuable. So I'll be looking and checking. I want to see, and I'll comment on anything that needs to be commented on. All right, thank you guys.